Hello, I'm Paula Monti and I'm here with Sarah Haboubi, my colleague. Welcome to our webinar, Why is my child struggling with spelling? Discover the secret missing skill with the jump-starting process for spelling. We're really pleased you found us, as it gives us the opportunity to share our passion, helping people of all ages who are struggling to learn. I'm a retired head teacher, now a learning coach and trainer.
Hi, Sarah here. I'm the mother of 2 boys who struggle with spelling, and I'm also a learning coach, a trainer, and international speaker. You'll be hearing more about us in a while, but first, what about you?
If you're a parent of a bright child who is struggling to learn the basics, then this webinar is for you.
If your child is still struggling with spelling despite all your hard work, effort, and time over the years, then this is probably the most important webinar you'll ever attend.
If you're a parent who's paid out hundreds or even thousands of pounds, euros, dollars, etc. on assessments, resources and tutors, only for your child to face the same stumbling blocks, then you've come to the right place.
In the next few minutes, we're going to show you how by using the simple jump-starting process, you can actually transform the way your child learns to spell.
You'll begin to understand why your child hasn't succeeded with the phonics-based programs being used today.
As Paula said, we are learning coaches and trainers specialising in dyslexia. We have helped hundreds of people of all ages overcome their difficulties with reading and spelling through the jump-starting process.
Want to know something interesting? Until just a few short years ago, we were both tearing our hair out trying to answer this question. What on earth can we do to help those bright, articulate students who are not learning to read and or spell despite excellent phonics programs and great teaching? Hi, this is Paula. I have over 30 years experience in primary education as a teacher, literacy subject leader, SENCO and head teacher. So I've used or know about pretty much every reading scheme, methodology and intervention program over that time. I was a successful class teacher and as a head teacher was praised by Ofsted for my outstanding visionary leadership. My local authority recognised I was always willing to think outside the box when it came to helping children with SEN, and we were known as a dyslexia-friendly school. Nevertheless, I often felt frustrated and at times inadequate that I couldn't meet the needs of some children. I saw too many slip through the net and become disaffected, disruptive, or lose confidence and retreat into a shell. I still remember the confusion, the frustration, disappointment in parents' eyes when their child had been diagnosed with dyslexia. And I had to tell them that this wouldn't make any major difference to what we were already doing in school. Yes, we could arrange more support for tests, but we were already, as far as we knew, doing everything we could in class. It hurt to have to admit that our education system was letting their child down. But what more could we do? Why is it that schools don't have the answer? Well, poor literacy has been a huge problem for a very long time. In the UK, the influential report by Sir Jim Rose in 2009 says, "Success for children with the most severe literacy problems can be elusive." We had introduced a high-quality, systematic phonics program which was highly successful for around 80% of the children, but not for all students. So, what can be done for students when phonics isn't working? Well, additional phonics is the main, if not the only, recommended intervention. This is despite the fact that the segmenting and blending of sounds is known to be a major area of difficulty for those with dyslexia. I'm guessing that this is something that you may have noticed with your child. If additional phonics doesn't work, we're told to offer support to help them keep up as well as possible with their peers and to maintain their confidence.
That brings to mind the famous quote, "The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results."
Yes, not acceptable. I didn't become a teacher to see children failed by the system. Sadly, it wasn't until after I retired that I discovered what I'd been looking for.
Thanks, Paula. Sarah here again, and I'm the mother of 2 boys at primary school, and both my children struggled with learning to spell in their early primary years. My older son was doing a lot of letter and number reversals, My younger son simply could not grasp how to read and spell abstract words, particularly those that have irregular spelling. I know the school was doing their best and often told me, oh, he'll grow out of it, or he needs to try harder. But despite additional effort from the boys, the confusion and frustration persisted. Now, I know that you will agree that as a parent, your greatest desire is for your child to be happy. And that is very difficult if they're struggling at school. One of our greatest fears is that they will have little confidence or self-belief. The worst thing is that we parents can feel guilty that either we pass this difficulty on in some way or we're simply not doing enough at home. When children are struggling to learn, the knock-on effect can be detrimental to the whole family. Homework time can become a nightmare, with 2 hours plus spent on something that should only take 20 minutes. Studying for the end-of-week spelling or maths test can turn into a battle of wills. I remember only too well my older son coming home upset from performing poorly in yet another spelling test and saying, "I'm so stupid, I'll never be able to spell, I hate school." Sound familiar? One of the big frustrations arises when a child isn't bad enough for an assessment. The teacher and the parents know that the child could be achieving so much more, but cannot receive extra help to do so at school.
If you're watching this, then you must be feeling that the school has not been able to help your child with their individual needs, and you're now looking to fill that gap yourself in some way. We know that finding out how to fill that gap is really difficult because it's a minefield out there with so many different programs, schemes and approaches. They all differ in appearance and structure, but they are ultimately all based on the same underlying principles, the phonics approach to reading and spelling. The jump-starting process for spelling is completely different, as it is based on a visual system that helps your child build on their existing strengths and talents, rather than focus on their weakness or deficit.
So as well as a parent, I'm also an international coach, trainer and speaker. Since 2002, I work with hundreds of people, helping them with personal, professional and educational development. My main focus has been how people learn and how they could learn more effectively and efficiently. For 6 years, I worked as an external consultant for my local branch of the school completion programme. This involved me working at a secondary school, helping students with behavioural issues and study skills. As time went on, though, I also started to help students who were struggling with their strategies for learning. I found that although I was able to help many students to be more successful academically, there were always those that I couldn't seem to make a difference with, and those typically had a diagnosis of dyslexia. I was always asking, what is it I do not know about dyslexia that if I did, would help me help these students overcome their learning difficulties? I believed that a solution had to exist. If I found it, students would be helped to reach the potential that I could see was within them. When I met Olive Hickmott of Empoweringly UK and learnt about this process in 2010, I was so excited that I started using it immediately with the students at the school, with amazing results. I then embarked on an MA in Adult Learning and Development and tested the process on adults with poor spelling in my research project, again with amazing results.
In fact, things changed for both of us when we each, quite independently, met with Olive Hickmott, and she told us about the process she had developed. She was dyslexic herself, but was good at maths and had become a successful engineer. After she left the corporate world, she decided to spend her time finding out what could be done to help those with learning difficulties, and the jump-starting process for literacy and numeracy was born.
Based on personal research and developments in neuroscience, it really is shockingly simple. At its heart is the development of the skill Olive discovered she had been missing all her life for spelling. Although she could easily see numbers in her mind's eye, she could not see words.
The signs and symptoms of dyslexia differ from person to person, and each individual will have a unique pattern of strengths and weaknesses. However, one common thread is they are not able to create and store a mental image of a word, despite often having exceptional visual abilities, which they can use with great success in other areas. The jump-starting process links into the ability to see pictures so that a word can be seen and remembered in the same way as any other image. For example, a family member, favourite cartoon character, or the crest of the soccer team they support.
Research from neuroscience has revealed that fluent readers primarily use the visual part of the brain for rapid and automatic recognition of words. Essentially, they are using mental imagery.
Up to now, it's generally been thought that this skill is inherent and cannot be taught. But now, we know it can be.
It took Olive more than 10 years to investigate, research, and refine her process before she really cracked it. And this is what she found. For effective learning, we need well-developed and controlled mental imagery, an optimal learning state, and metacognition.
Mental imagery, as we already mentioned, is key for fluent reading and effective spelling.
An optimal learning state is one where the student has a relaxed body and alert mind. This state helps to improve concentration and focus and enhance learning and recall, and some students cannot develop or control their mental imagery without this. We teach a very simple process called grounding to help students achieve this state extremely quickly. This can be taught to children even as young as 4 years old with great effect.
And metacognition is vital for helping students understand their inner mental processes, recognize their existing strengths, and adjust any ineffective learning strategies accordingly. We use a coaching approach to uncover the internal experience of the student that is typically out of their conscious awareness, thereby helping them to become aware of how they are thinking and learning. And these 3 pieces of truth have helped thousands of people over the world to become competent spellers, good readers, regain their confidence, and understand that they are not stupid or lazy.
And guess what? You can learn to do the same thing. You can learn to teach your child how to use the jump-starting process to learn their spellings in a new, motivating way, a visual way, using their mental imagery. And you can begin to transform your child's approach to learning.
The best thing about the jump-starting process is just how fast, effective, and simple it is. For those children with classic symptoms of dyslexia, around 60 minutes is enough to teach them how to use mental imagery to learn their spelling. After that, they only need to practice for around 10 minutes a day until they start to learn their spellings independently and automatically. And the real beauty is that all you need is a list of words, a pack of post-its, and a felt-tip pen.
What makes this process unlike anything else out there is just how fast it works. We currently have a success rate of 94% in terms of our students being able to form and retain the image of a word. Picture the look on your child's face when he or she has now learnt the secret skill that other children have been using unconsciously to learn their spellings.
Just imagine the relief you will feel when you can begin to dream again of a positive future for your child.
By now you're probably asking yourself, if this is so good, why isn't it already in schools?
Well, the answer is simple. It is in some schools, and we're making rapid headway in spreading the word around the world. Head teachers and teachers are beginning to see that even the best phonics programs are not working for every child. In the UK, I've worked with staff in over 30 schools and run courses at the Helen Arkell Dyslexia Centre, who are very supportive of our work. I've also trained staff and volunteers at the Springboard Education Charity. The Dyslexia Research Trust in the UK refer clients to me for one-to-one coaching.
In Ireland, I piloted the jump-starting process with a primary school in 2013 with great success, and they are continuing to use it across the school today. The jump-starting process is here to stay, and that's from Shane McCarthy, the principal of the pilot school, which is St Joseph's National School in County Westmeath. Maynooth University, Frebble Department of Primary and Early Years Education, are now offering the Jump-Starting Literacy and Numeracy course as a summer CPD programme for primary school teachers. You might be asking, where is the research, or what evidence is there that this process helps to improve spelling?
The importance of mental imagery in the learning process has been well researched and documented. Laurie Glazer, PhD, Georgetown University, 2011, says, "What we found is that once we've learned a word, it is placed in a purely visual dictionary in the brain. Having a purely visual representation allows for the fast and efficient word recognition we see in skilled readers."
We also know from neuroscience that the hallmarks of dyslexia are difficulties with phonological processing along with word recognition skills. Sally Shaywitz, ND, co-director of the Yale Center for Dyslexia and Creativity and author of Overcoming Dyslexia, said, "People who are dyslexic seem to have an abundance of creative thought, but when you try to pin it down, you have to remember that creativity is a very big area. Artists, writers and musicians tend to get tagged as creative, when creativity really just means seeing things differently. Shaywitz often invokes Charles Schwab, a billionaire businessman and dyslexic, as an example. I remember him saying, "I can see the end zone while others are thinking very serially, step by step." Put that way, dyslexic thinking sounds like big picture thinking, a frame of mind that certainly benefits designers. And that came from Wired magazine in August 29th, 2016.
Although the importance of mental imagery is now becoming more accepted, the idea that the underlying skill necessary for word recognition can actually be taught is a very new one, and as far as we know, Olive Hickmott's approach is unique. Over the last few years, we've been gathering our own anecdotal data, and we're beginning to attract interest and indeed funding for more formal research.
As you can imagine, this is new, it's groundbreaking, it's cutting edge. We are on the cusp of a huge breakthrough in the way we teach spelling, reading and numeracy.
Have a go yourself. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to spell a word, and we want you to just notice what happens in your mind. So, okay, ready, spell giraffe. What happened for you? Did you see one giraffe, or maybe just its head? Possibly like one student of mine, you saw a whole herd on the Serengeti. Maybe you didn't see a picture at all. Did you see the letters?
Now have a go at this one. Zyresic. It means as sharp as a razor. Zyresic. Okay, here's the spelling. What happened there?
Now try Bawbee. That's an old Scottish coin. I wonder how many different ways you're thinking of that you can spell that one. Bawbee. Now here's the spelling. Bawbee.
The fact is, when spelling most words, particularly in a language like English, you can't know how to spell it unless you have seen it written down. More importantly, you won't be able to spell it correctly again unless you can remember it, and you remember it by remembering what it looks like. Now just imagine that you couldn't see any letters in your mind's eye. Maybe you've had that difficulty yourself.
Have you noticed that your child may spell the same word 4 or 5 different ways on the same page? This is because they haven't stored the correct image of the word in their long-term memory. The jump-starting process teaches you how to help your child to do just that.
So there are 2 modules. Module 1 gives you the essential background to the process. There are 5 parts, each taking around 20 minutes. You will learn about dyslexia and the different ways in which brains process information. You will learn a simple process which reduces stress and helps the brain form stable images. Module 2 teaches you how to teach your child how to learn spellings using their mental imagery in the same way that other good spellers spell.
And what will you get as a result of investing your time? Well, a calmer, less stressed child, less time spent on homework, an end to the stress of learning those weekly spellings, and significant improvements in weekly spelling tests. And an increasingly confident and happier child now they know how to learn.
And what will you avoid? Well, a constant struggle throughout your child's school career, your child giving up and not realising his or her potential, and ultimately a sense of failure, lack of self-confidence, and low self-esteem. We'd like to share with you some success stories from children who have avoided the years of struggle and failure by learning the jump-starting process.
And the first one is from a grandmother of a girl aged 8. I was very impressed with our session on Saturday, and sorry for getting a bit emotional, but it's been a very hard road for T with her dyslexia. This was the first time I've seen her relaxed and actually enjoying doing spelling. Since our visit, T has been happy to read and to practice her spellings. This in itself is a miracle, and I thank you. And here's another one from a little girl aged 10. C got home that night and said to me, "Mummy, I've never felt clever before, but now I know how to do it."
Here's another one from a mother of another little girl. R now has a new way of learning and remembering spellings that works for her learning style. Homework now takes only a third of the time. She's doing so well in her spelling test, and her ability and confidence in reading has increased so much that she's now reading on her own and enjoying the books. She has absolutely flourished. Since her diagnosis, this has been the most positive experience by far, and really boosted her confidence, recognised her strengths rather than her deficits, and acknowledged her ability and intelligence. It seems such a simple technique that the question has to be asked, why are we not using these methods in schools? R's learning has gone from strength to strength, her confidence has increased and Maya's stress levels have decreased, and my confidence in R's ability to learn have increased. And here's one from a school in Ireland that's been using it. When teaching spelling using the jump-starting process, I know that this is how spelling should be taught. We hope to further implement the methods into the future and look forward to see the longer-term results.
Now, let me ask you, if all this did for you was create a calmer, more confident child, would it be worth doing?
Picture being able to tell your child that you have found a simple process to help them spell more easily, that will reduce the stress at homework time, and improve their test results, and is completely different from what they've experienced in school so far. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Just imagine being able to reduce the amount of time and tears spent over homework. Wouldn't that be good? Now it's your opportunity to transform your child's learning experience. I wonder how much some of you have paid out up to now in resources, assessments and tutors. Some people we know have spent thousands of pounds, dollars or...
Our face-to-face full 2-day trainings are €495. Our online live webinars are €395, and our one-to-one coaching packages cost around €295. And of course, you can choose to do one of those, and we would love to see you there. But in order to reach as many people as possible, we have created online courses that you can do at home, in your own time, and at a pace that suits you and your child. The price for the jump-starting process for spelling is €97. Once this has been completed, you can then go on and do the jump-starting process for reading, which is €67, and or the jump-starting process for handwriting, which is €67. Or you can buy all three as a bundle for just €167. But to give you the basic skills to start helping your child learn to spell and read better, as well as improve their handwriting skills today, we want to make this an absolute no-brainer for you. That's why you can get the online jump-starting process for spelling, reading and handwriting courses for just €75. That's only around £65 or $93. And with this price, you can save over 55%. So if you're ready to start transforming your child's learning today, click the link below now. What can you normally buy for that amount? How much would you continue to have to spend on support, resources and tutors if your child continues to struggle at school? So why have we priced this package so low? Well, firstly, it's an introductory launch price, available only until the end of May 2018. And to be honest, we hope that when you see how well this works for spelling, reading and handwriting, you'll want to invest further in forthcoming courses. You might even think of doing the full training so you can begin to help other people's children who are struggling too. But there's a more important reason. We have a big vision. We believe in this process. We've seen it work for hundreds of children, and we are passionate about getting the word out there. We want parents to begin to put pressure on schools to explore this method of helping children with dyslexic symptoms with their learning. No more children being let down by the system.
No more young people failing unnecessarily, prevented from achieving their potential, or held back due to a lack of formal qualifications.
We know that this simple process activates the visual learning system, which so many good learners are using unconsciously. Once your child has learnt this skill, not only will their spelling improve, but they can apply it to pretty much all other academic subjects.
To take advantage of this offer, and to experience the power and magic of the process yourself, take action right now by clicking the link below.
See you at the training!